Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to discuss Maxwell's equation, Maxwell's equation in steady state field, Maxwell's equation for time varying field, and some numericals under Maxwell's equation and in identifying your induced EMF. First, we will see the Maxwell's equation. To write the Maxwell's equation, we are going to consider both steady state field as well as your time varying field. Steady state field as well as the time varying field. If you consider the steady state field or time varying field, we are going to write the Maxwell's equation under electrostatics as well as on magnetostatics. The laws what we are going to use to write the Maxwell's equation under electrostatics is we are going to use Gauss's law and Faraday's law. For under magnetostatics, we are going to use again Gauss's law for magnetostatics and Ampere's law for magnetostatics. Okay, now we'll see the laws what we are going to use it for writing the Maxwell's equation. The first law is Gauss's law. So we all know that Gauss's law states that the magnetic field, Gauss's law states that the electric flux density coming out from any closed surface is equal to the charge enclosed in that surface. This is Gauss's law in electrostatics. In the same way, Gauss's law for magnetostatics, it states that the magnetic flux density coming out from any closed surface is equal to 0. This is Gauss's law in magnetostatics and it is Gauss's law in electrostatics. We are going to use these two equations as reference for writing the Maxwell's equation in steady state field and time varying field. Gauss's law states that electric charges produce an electric field. Electric flux across a closed surface is proportional to the charge enclosed. Gauss's law for magnetostatics states that there is no magnetic monopoles and therefore the magnetic flux density in a closed surface will be equal to 0. Why it is equal to 0 in the sense? In a closed path there is no magnetic poles. Whereas in case of Gauss's law in case of your electrostatics, it is the electric flux density coming out from any closed surface is equal to the charge enclosed. Next one is your Faraday's law. Faraday's law states that the time varying magnetic field produces an electric field. When your rate of change of flux linked with the coil changes, an EMF is going to induce according to Faraday's law. We are going to use this particular equation in Faraday's law for writing the Maxwell's equation both in point form as well as in integral form. The next law what we are going to use is Ampere's law. Ampere's law states that the magnetic field intensity in a closed line is equal to the current enclosed. We are going to use this equation for both steady state field as well as the time varying field. For time varying field, the Ampere's law equation is going to be different. Why? Because it includes both your conduction current density as well as the displacement current density in case of your time varying field. So Ampere's law for steady current and time varying electric field produce a magnetic field. Now we are going to see the Maxwell's equation for steady state field. Maxwell's equation has to be written for both electrostatics as well as the magnetostatics, and also it has to be written both in integral form as well as the differential form. The table shows the Maxwell's equation for the steady state field. You can see here integral form of the equation is shown over here and point form of the equation is shown over here. And what law we are going to use for identifying the Maxwell's equation is written on your right hand side. the first two equations, whatever it is written, it is your Maxwell's first equation and second equation in electrostatics. So this is only under your electrostatic condition. And the third equation and fourth equation, whatever it is written over here, it is the Maxwell's first equation and second equation in magnetostatics. Here in electrostatics, you have the first law, first equation focusing on Gauss's law in electric field, and second equation focusing on Faraday's law in electric field. Similarly, the third equation, Gauss's law in magnetic field and Ampere's law in magnetic field. The integral form of your Gauss's law is integral over the closed surface d dot ds. We know that Gauss's law states that the electric flux density coming out from any closed surface is equal to the charge enclosed. So d dot ds is equal to q. If you are going to assume the charge to be the volume charge density, then you will get the volume integral rho v into dv. Point form of Maxwell's equation is divergence dot d is equal to rho v. It is your point form. Point form can also be called as your differential form. Faraday's law. We know that the Faraday's law means it is going to induce a voltage. An EMF is going to induce whenever a conductor is going to cut the lines of flux, or whenever the flux linked with the coil is going to get changed, an EMF is going to induced. Therefore, we can write the Faraday's law as integral over the closed line E dot dl is equal to 0. Now, in point form, you can write it as E is equal to negative gradient of your electric scalar potential. When taking curl on both sides, we'll get curl E is equal to curl of divergence V. We know that according to vector identity, curl of divergence of any vector or divergence of curl of any vector is going to be 0. Therefore, we can write curl E is equal to 0. Gauss's law in magnetic field. Gauss's law in magnetic field states that the magnetic flux density in a closed surface is equal to 0. It is the integral form of your Maxwell's first equation in magnetostatics. It is Gauss's law in magnetostatics. When we write it in the form of your differential form or point form, we'll get divergence dot B is equal to 0. The last equation focusing on Maxwell's equation is Maxwell's second equation in magnetostatics, which is written by using Ampere's law. We know that the Ampere's law states that the magnetic field intensity in a closed line is equal to the current enclosed. When we are going to write the current in terms of current density, we can write it as a closed surface. So instead of writing it as closed surface, here it is written it as double integral. So it is also a surface integral, j dot ds. And in point form, it is written as curl h is equal to j. Next is your Maxwell's equation for time varying field. In case of your time varying field, your first equation, that is Maxwell's first equation in electrostatics and Maxwell's first equation in magnetostatics, it is not going to change. It remains same as that of your previous thing. Here what we can write is integral over the closed surface d dot ds is equal to q. Q, if you are assuming a volume charge density, you can write it as integral over the volume of space rho v into dv. In point form, it is written as divergence dot d is equal to rho v. Integral Maxwell's second equation in electrostatics for time varying field is integral over the closed line E dot dl is equal to integral over the closed surface dou b divided by dou t into ds. It is just like your Faraday's law. E is equal to minus n into d phi divided by dt. We know that the magnetic flux density B is equal to phi divided by area. In this, if you are assuming a differential surface area, the flux distribution is also going to be differential. From this, it is identified d phi is equal to B into ds. In the place of ds, you can replace it with B dot ds. When you replace it, you will be getting E is equal to minus dou b divided by dou t, and here you will get E dot dl is equal to integral over the closed surface dou B by dou T into ds. It is Maxwell's second equation in electrostatics for time varying field. Next one, Maxwell's second equation for time varying field. So obviously we'll be using Ampere's law. The normal Ampere's law, curl H is equal to J, which is not true for the time varying condition. So we have modified the equation according to the time varying field, and the equation for the modified form of Ampere's law is curl H is equal to J plus dou D divided by dou T. And in integral form, if you write integral over the closed line H dot dl is equal to integral over the closed surface J plus dou D divided by dou T into ds. So far we have discussed the Maxwell's equation for time varying field, steady state field, and what are the laws we are going to use that we have been discussed in this two slides. Now we are going to see the problems, that is numericals under electromagnetic that Maxwell's equation induced EMF. You can see here a circular loop conductor lies in plane Z is equal to 0 and has a radius of 0.1 meter and resistance of 5 ohm. Given B is equal to 0.2 sine 10 to the power of 3t. So it is given as B is equal to 0.2 sine 10 to the power of 3t. It is just like your 0.2 sine omega t. 0.2 sine omega t. Therefore, the value of omega in the given problem is 10 to the power of t. Here we need to identify the current in the loop. Current in the loop can be identified as I is equal to V divided by R. R value, it is given in the problem as 5 ohm. But we need to identify the value of V, that is the potential V. It can be identified by using the induced EMF equation. Therefore, the problem can be solved first by considering the induced EMF equation. So we can write the EMF E is equal to N into d phi divided by dt. From this, phi is equal to integral over the closed surface B dot ds. Because first we need to identify E is equal to d phi divided by dt. First we should understand what is the flux phi. The flux phi is not given in the problem. Therefore, the flux phi can be identified by using your magnetic flux density formula, where B is equal to phi divided by area. If you are going to have a differential surface area, the flux distribution will also be differential. From this you can write phi is equal to integral over the closed surface B dot ds. After substituting, and here the surface area, since we are going to analyze it by using a Cartesian coordinate system, cylindrical coordinate system, the three ordinates of the cylindrical coordinate system is going to be rho, phi, z. In this, the magnetic flux density is given along your z-axis direction. Therefore, the surface differential surface area along z-axis direction can be written as, here Az will be the unit vector in case of your differential surface area along your z-axis, and the value between rho and phi. Rho is going to vary with respect to rho means d rho. The phi will vary all along your rho axis, so rho into d phi. Therefore, the differential surface area along z-axis can be written as dsz is equal to rho into d rho into d phi Az. Now, when you are going to substitute it in the equation, you will be getting phi is equal to double integration. One is with respect to rho and other one with respect to phi. Here the value of r is nothing but the radius of your circle, which varies from 0 to 0.1, and the value of phi is going to be 0 to 2 pi. After substituting, this is the value of B and it is your surface area. After doing a calculation, the value of the flux obtained is 6.283 into 10 to the power of minus 3 sine 10 to the power of 3t. It is milliweber. Now this one you need to substitute it in the Faraday's law equation, d phi divided by dt. When you substitute it, you will get the value of the induced EMF E is equal to minus d by dt. Value of phi is 6.283 sine 10 to the power of 3t milliweber. By simplifying, we'll get the induced EMF E is equal to 6.283 cos 10 to the power of 3t volt. Now current can be identified as induced EMF divided by resistance. The value of the induced EMF is 6.283 cos 10 to the power of 3t divided by the value of resistance given is 5 ohm in the problem. After substituting, the value of the current identified is minus 1.25 cos 10 to the power of 3t amps. So the value of the current obtained I is equal to minus 1.2567 cos 10 to the power of 3t amps. So this is the problem under your Faraday's law. Next one derivation show that the magnitude of conduction current density to the magnitude of displacement current density is equal to sigma divided by omega epsilon, where sigma is nothing but your conductivity, omega angular frequency, epsilon permittivity. We need to identify the ratio of the amplitude of your conduction current density to the value of your displacement current density as sigma divided by omega epsilon. This one we need to identify. For this, we have to use the modified form of Ohm's law. Modified form of Ohm's law states that according to Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R and I is equal to V divided by R at constant temperature. Considering your rectangular box in the medium where the conductivity is rho, therefore the resistance R can be identified as R is equal to rho L divided by A ohm. And also we know that the potential gradient is same as your electric field. From this V is equal to E dot L. Substituting the values of V, R and I will get V is equal to E dot L is equal to JA L divided by conductivity into area. This gives the relationship between your current density and the electric field intensity. It is the modified form of your Ampere's law. Using this equation only, we are going to derive the ratio of your conduction current density to that of your displacement current density. The value of your conduction current density can be identified as JC is equal to, we know that J is equal to the applied voltage. The applied voltage E is equal to Em into sine omega t. Now we need to identify what is our displacement current density and what is our conduction current density. So the conduction current density is given as Jc is equal to sigma into E. According to the modified form of Ohm's law, we'll get J is equal to sigma into E. In the place of E, we need to write it as J. E is written as the applied voltage, which is nothing but Em into sine omega t. From this equation, if you write only the magnitude of your J, C, it will be sigma into Em. It is the magnitude. In the similar manner, if you write the displacement current density, so in case of your displacement current density, J is equal to dou D divided by dou T. Because from modified form of Ampere's law, we know that curl H is equal to J plus dou D divided by dou T. J is your conduction current density, dou D by dou T is your displacement current density. So the displacement current density JD is nothing but dou D divided by dou T. If you replace D in terms of E, you will get D is equal to epsilon into E. From this you will get JD is equal to epsilon is constant dou by dou T. In the place of E, you can write it as Em sine omega t. After differentiating, you will get sine omega t. Once it is differentiated, we will get cos omega t into omega. Therefore, the value of JD is epsilon omega Em. It is going to be the magnitude, but after differentiating this, we will get epsilon Em omega into cos omega t. In this, if you write only the magnitude, we will get JD is equal to epsilon omega Em. Our problem is we need to identify the magnitude of conduction current density ratio to that of your displacement current density ratio as sigma divided by omega epsilon. when we divide these two equations, when we divide the magnitude of your conduction current density and the magnitude of your displacement current density, we'll get the equation Jc by Jd is equal to sigma divided by omega epsilon. After substituting, we can, after reducing the expression, it is available as sigma divided by epsilon into omega. The sigma divided by omega epsilon is nothing but loss tangent. Loss tangent is the factor which makes us to identify the given form either as a good conductor or good dielectric medium. Here we have two conditions. When the loss tangent sigma divided by omega epsilon is going to be very much larger than or equal to 10, then your given form will act as a good conductor. Good conductor. Suppose if the loss tangent sigma divided by omega epsilon is going to be very much less than or equal to 1 divided by 10, that is 0.1, then it is going to act as a good dielectric medium. So depending upon the value obtaining in loss tangent, it is possible for us to identify whether it is going to be a good conductor or good dielectric medium. So the ratio of your conduction current, the ratio of the magnitude of the conduction current density to that of your displacement current density will reflect in loss tangent parameter. So we'll get here loss tangent. When your sigma divided by omega epsilon is greater than or equal to 10, the medium will behave like a good conductor. When it is going to be less than or equal to 1 divided by 10, the medium behaves as a good dielectric medium. Now next one we are going to see here one problem based on the loss tangent. You can see here wet marshy soil is characterized by conductivity 10 to the power of minus 2 rho per meter, epsilon r relative permittivity 15, relative permeability 1 at various frequencies like 6 Hz, 1 MHz, 100 MHz and 10 GHz. We should indicate whether the soil is considered as a conductor or a dielectric. So here we need to identify the loss tangent, that is sigma divided by omega epsilon. Sigma is nothing but the conductivity which is given in the problem. Epsilon is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r. The value of epsilon naught is constant, which we can write it as 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12, and the value of epsilon r is given in the problem as 15. Omega is nothing but 2 pi f. 2 is constant, pi is also constant. F is going to be the frequency. So at various frequencies like 6 Hz, 1 MHz, 100 MHz, 10 GHz, we need to identify the value of sigma divided by omega epsilon, that is loss tangent we have to identify. From there we should define whether the given wet marshy soil is a good conducting medium or good dielectric medium. For the first step, we can write at f is equal to 60. We should identify the loss tangent sigma divided by omega epsilon, which is equal to the value of conductivity given is 10 to the power of minus 2 divided by 2 pi f. Omega is nothing but 2 pi f. So in the place of f, we need to substitute 60. Epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12. It is epsilon r. Once the answer is identified, looking at this answer, it is greater than 10, which says that at f is equal to 60 Hz, the wet marshy soil is going to behave like a good conducting medium. Therefore, at f is equal to 50, the soil behaves as a good conductor. Now, at f is equal to 1 MHz, Jc by Jd, which is equal to sigma divided by omega epsilon. In the place of f alone, we need to substitute 1 MHz. Mega means like mega, kilohertz means 10 to the power of 3. Megahertz means 10 to the power of 6. Gigahertz 10 to the power of 9. Petahertz 10 to the power of 15. Exahertz 10 to the power of 18. So all this you people should be familiar, because if any frequency is given with kilohertz or megahertz or gigahertz, petahertz or exahertz, then you should be properly substituting the value 10 to the power of. So here it is given as 1 megahertz. So 1 into 10 to the power of 6. After calculating, we got 12 which is greater than 10. Therefore at F is equal to 1 megahertz also the soil act as a good conductor. The next frequency is F is equal to 100 megahertz. For this you can identify the magnitude of Jc by Jd, which is sigma divided by omega epsilon. Once it is identified here, in the place of F you have to substitute 100 megahertz. After substituting we have got 0.12. Here the value lies between 0.1 and 10. Therefore at frequency 100 megahertz the soil behaves as a good dielectric medium. The next frequency is gigahertz. So giga means 10 to the power of 9. When you substitute F is equal to 10 gigahertz, in the loss tangent formula we are getting the answer 0.00119, which is very much less than 0.1. Therefore the given at frequency F is equal to 10 gigahertz, the given soil acts like a dielectric medium. So this is using the loss tangent. You should identify whether the given conductor or whether the given medium is acting as a good conductor or good dielectric medium. Next one. Find the frequency at which the conduction current density and displacement current density are going to be equal. So we need to identify at which the conduction current density and displacement current density is equal. We can write Jc is equal to Jd, which is nothing but it is equal to 1. Therefore we can write Jc by Jd is equal to 1, which is equal to sigma divided by omega epsilon. We wanted to identify the frequency at which your conduction current density and displacement current density are equal. Therefore we'll get the formula sigma divided by omega epsilon is equal to 1. Sigma divided by, in the place of omega, 2 pi f into epsilon is equal to 1. Epsilon is your epsilon naught into epsilon r. Epsilon naught is constant, 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12. From this equation you can identify the value of f as f is equal to 2 pi epsilon divided by sigma. F is equal to sigma divided by 2 pi epsilon. It is the value of the frequency that you can obtain it for the different medium. For the first case we can see, in case of your distilled water, the value of your F can be identified as sigma divided by 2 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r. For the first case, what is the value of the conductivity given? 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So 2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught epsilon r. So at this particular frequency you will get a distilled water where your conduction current density is equal to your displacement current density. In the same way, for seawater also we should identify the frequency where the displacement current density and the conduction current density are going to be equal. So here F is equal to sigma divided by 2 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r, which is equal to 4 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught epsilon r. After substituting you got the frequency 71.9 gigahertz. Therefore at this particular frequency the value of your conduction current density and the displacement current density are going to be equal. Now the next problem is, in a given lossy dielectric medium, conduction current density Jc is equal to 0.02 sin 10 to the power of 90. Find the displacement current density if the conductivity is 10 power 3 rho meter and epsilon r given is 6.5. So in case of your lossy dielectric medium, the loss tangent equation is Jc by Jd is equal to sigma divided by omega epsilon. Therefore Jd is equal to omega epsilon Jc divided by sigma. The value of your conduction current density is given and the omega is 2 pi f, epsilon is epsilon naught into epsilon r. Substitute to here omega is 2 pi f. F is not given in the problem, but the value of omega is obtained from the equation, which is nothing but 10 to the power of 90. When you are substituting over here, you will get the displacement current density as Jd is equal to 1.151 microamps per meter square. This is the value of your displacement current density. Next one, you have the if D is equal to 10x AX minus 4y AY plus KZ into AZ microcoulomb per meter square, and the value of B given is millitesla. Find the value of K to satisfy the Maxwell's equation for region sigma is equal to 0 and rho V is equal to 0. So in this region, we need to identify the value of K, but we should apply the Maxwell's equation. So in this, if you are applying a Maxwell's equation, Maxwell's first equation, divergence dot D is equal to rho V. As it is given rho V is equal to 0, we can substitute this one equal to 0. And in the given problem, the problem is given in terms of Cartesian coordinate system. When you expand divergence dot D in Cartesian coordinate system, we will get dou dx by dou x plus dou dy by dou y plus dou dz divided by dou z. So differentiating the value of D with respect to x, y and z, substituting it over here, we'll get the answer K as K is equal to minus 6 microcoulomb per meter. Next problem, if the magnetic field H is equal to 3x cos beta plus 6y sin alpha, find the current density J if the fields are invariant with time. Invariant with the time means it is nothing but steady state field. So you know you have the parameter H. To identify the value of your current density J, here you need to use the Ampere's law. Curl H is equal to J. Curl H is equal to J. Why I am using here? It is invariant with respect to time in steady state field. Suppose in case of time varying field, if they asked, you have to use curl H is equal to J plus dou D divided by dou T. So in this equation, if you substitute the value as dou D by dou T, you will get the Maxwell's equation for a steady state field. Substituting in terms of curl, this is your curl formula: Ax, Ay, Az, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. In this place, coefficient of x, Ax, x in given magnetic field. So here only A is the direction is available. Substituting over here, we'll get the value of the current density as 6 sin alpha Ax minus 3 cos beta Ay ampere per meter square. Now coming back to the next problem. Two parallel conducting plates of area 0.05 meter square, it is separated by. So here we have a two parallel conducting plate. The distance between the plate is given as 2 mm. And it is supplied with a potential of 10 sine 10 to the power of 70. So here the omega is 10 to the power of 70. Value of epsilon or conductivity, everything is given. We need to identify the RMS value of current. The RMS value of current can be identified by identifying the conduction current and displacement current. So conduction current is sigma into E. After substituting, you will get 4 sine 10 to the power of 70 ampere per meter square. And displacement current is dou D by dou T. In the place of D, you can replace it with epsilon and E. So you will get dou D, JD is equal to epsilon dE by dt. Substituting the value of epsilon naught, epsilon r and E, you will get the value of the displacement current density as 3.6744 cos 10 to the power of 70. Now the conduction current, it is nothing but the current flowing through the conductor. Therefore IC is equal to JC into area. In the same way, we need to identify the value of your displacement current. We are getting 0.18372 cos 10 to the power of 70. So the RMS value of the current will be the vector sum of IC and ID. Because when you take a capacitor, the two plates are going to be considered as a conductor. In between the conductor, there is a dielectric medium. When you are going to consider here, the total current is going to be the vector sum of your conduction current and the displacement current. Therefore, IT is equal to IC plus ID. Substituting the value of your conduction current and displacement current, we got the total RMS total current as 0.2715. The total RMS current is given by total current divided by root 2, which is 0.1919 amps. So far we have discussed the Maxwell's equation in steady state field, time varying field, problems with respect to Faraday's law, obtaining the current density Ampere's modified form of Ampere's law, how you can implement the modified form of Ohm's law in Ampere's law, then current with respect and derivation with respect to Law's tangent. Thank you, students.